Hello, I'm Robin.
And I'm Anna.
And we are co-artistic directors of Flintlock Theatre. And some of you out there want to know a bit about our production of The Government Inspector. And we've got some questions here that we've been sent, and we're going to do our best to answer them for you.
Yeah, the first one is, can you tell us a bit about The Government Inspector? The Government Inspector is a farce written by Nikolai Gogol in the 19th century. And it's the story of a small town in the middle of Russia, middle of nowhere really, run by a mayor who's pretty corrupt. And he's running the town through a combination of backhanders, bribes, favours, and he's got a little motley crew around him who help him run the town, the judge, the charity commissioner, various other people. And they suddenly get wind of the fact that an inspector from the government in St. Petersburg is going to come and inspect their district. And they fly into a huge panic because they realise they're going to be caught out for all these terrible things they've been doing. They've not been looking after roads, they've been not looking after hospitals, etc. And they get wind of the fact that there is a stranger in the town who they assume is the government inspector. In fact, he's a con man called Klezmer, who's on his uppers, wondering how he's going to pay his bill at the inn, and it's basically a case of mistaken identity. And as you can imagine, all kinds of mayhem ensues. And I won't tell you what happens at the end, but come and see it and find out.
What attracted you to this story? I love this story. I first encountered it as a student when I was at school, and I think what I love most about it is that it functions on two levels. It's really funny. He says confidently.
It really is.
People laugh a lot. It's a very silly story, and it's delightfully ridiculous. And a lot of young audiences, we've had 10 and 12-year-olds that have really loved it on that level. But it's got this undercurrent as well. It's a sharp satire as well. It's a political satire. I always wanted to have a go at adapting it and giving it a bit of a shake-up as well. When Gogol wrote this, I think he was pushing the boundaries of theatre, but when we see sort of traditional productions of it now, they're quite conservative, I think. So I wanted to try and recapture some of that anarchic quality.
Why did you want to create your own adaptation, and how is this different to previous versions?
Yeah, why did I want to create my own? Well, I've sort of said that already. This is a revival of a production that was the very first production that Flintlock Theatre created, and so I suppose we wanted something that was well known enough to sell tickets, but not so well known and so well trodden that it felt like you couldn't do something new with it.
So the first version would have had at least 12 actors performing in it, and it often does have that many, but we could only afford 4. So what we've done is we've taken those 4 actors and got them to play all of the different characters in the piece. They're all multi-rolling, chucking on different hats, and when we run out of actors, there's another technique we use, which we won't tell you about again, but you will find out about if you come and see it.
How do you think this play is relevant to modern-day politics?
Well, I think the central preoccupation of the play is power and ideas around who holds power and how power sucks people into its sphere of influence and how people are affected by perceiving that someone else might have more power than them. In the lead up to an election, I think that we're all questioning issues of power. It's been a very strange few years in British politics, I think most people would agree. People are going to try and persuade us that they should be the person in the hot seat leading the country. And I think it's really interesting that in the play, an inspection is going to be the test of whether or not the mayor should hold on to his power. And of course, he doesn't deserve his power at all. So what he does is he covers it up. He does all sorts of things to make the town look better. And I think in the lead up to an election, we're going to see lots of promises on television. We're going to see lots of people justifying why they should be the person in power. And lots of them are based on promises that we may or may not be fulfilled, on records of people's performance, on statistics, on polls, on all that sort of thing. And it's just really interesting at this point in an election year to watch a play where we're watching what people do to try and convince other people to hand them power.
What does it say?
How does only having 4 actors influence a show, and is this a limitation?
4 actors? Yes, it is a limitation, and that's why we like it, because there's nothing more scary when you're trying to create a piece of original theatre or any piece of artwork of any kind, I should imagine, than not having limitations. Complete blank canvas and endless budget is quite terrifying, I think. It's a bit of a sort of feat to set yourself. Can you do this with only 4 actors? And the audience are in on that. The audience can see 4 actors taking on parts. It's not we're not asking people to invest in a sort of piece of naturalistic slice of life kind of theatre. And it's great fun, I think, to watch 4 actors sometimes get in trouble. So there are all sorts of inventive solutions that come out of that limitation.
I think some of the best things have come out, actually, of the limitation.
But they always do. All of the best ideas always come about because you've got a problem that you've got to solve. So that's very much in line with our approach to making theatre.
And the next question is, how is theatre influenced by the music and vice versa? But the music actually was the impetus for the whole piece, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was put on in our first R&D session, research and development session, when we were trying to find out what we wanted to make and what play we wanted to do, and we put on some klezmer music and played a silly game that we often play in a warm-up, a sort of unorthodox version of Follow My Leader, and almost the whole style for the whole piece just sprung from that, and it worked so well for the ensemble that we just stuck with it, and it had a huge influence on the whole style of the piece. It's really fundamental, isn't it? The music.
Yeah. The music is all Klezmer music, which is Eastern European Jewish music. It's Jewish wedding music originally, created by travelling gypsy bands that were hired for people's weddings. I think that's correct. And it's got this uplifting but wild kind of energy. That seems to go with traditions of, lifting people up on chairs and smashing glasses and all of that sort of thing. And I think the whole idea for the production, the style of the production, the way the design visually, even the program layout, it's all springs from that anarchic, wild, furious, fast and furious sort of energy of the music.
And the last question is, can you sum up what we can expect from the government inspector in 3 words? A lot of fun,
fast and furious. How about that?
Fun, fast and furious.
Fun, fast and
Theatre.
furious.
Yes.
You've just made it 4 words.
Yeah. What can we expect? Fun, fast and furious. Something.
Laugh out loud. That's 3.
Laugh out loud.
Fun, fast and furious. I like that.
That's it. Done.
Bye-bye.
Bye.